I, Anuradha, would like to thank all of you for writing in your suggestions and comments on our YouTube and Spotify channels, and liking, sharing, and subscribing to both our YouTube and Spotify channels. So, today we are going to talk about practically analyzing a dasha based on Karakatwas. We know that, I have made a lot of videos on how to see the Dasha and Antardasha, and we've also gone deep into the divisional charts. But when we come to the practical aspect of Karakatwas, we will see that every planet has, according to Uttar Kalamrita, has around 80, 85 kind of, Karakatwas. And more than that, we know that everything in the world finds Karakatwas in at least one of the 9 planets. So what happens is, a planet has a number of objects over which it has lordship. So when we talk about a certain dasha in our life, do all those thousands and thousands or lakhs of objects come into play all of a sudden in our life? We don't see that, because many a times you will see that there are 10, 12, 15, 20 number of associations that we have. Even if they're running the same dasha, say that of the sun, one might get a job, the other might go into deep penance or spiritual practices. Somebody else can be leading a very strenuous life. Somebody else might be working very hard. One might be rising and getting a lot of name and fame. So how does all these things happen? Well, let's have a good look at that through a certain number of Karakatwas that I have got for you people from the Uttar Kalam. To say the least, the sun is said to be the soul, and it is also said to be the government. It is said to be power. There's a lot of worship also that we can see coming up from the self. A lot of good strength and effort, courage, mental purity. Also, we see that people can be moving into mountains and things like that. Now, that is also a period when somebody could be doing charitable work, because if sun happens to be in your 12th house, then what? So let us see how we can connect that. Now, for somebody, if sun is the lord of the 5th house, it is placed in the 9th house. In that case, we know that the person can move into the area of worship. How do we connect that? We see which is the house it has the lordship over. What are the Karakatwas of that particular house? Where is it posited? And what are the Karakatwas of that house? Now, the sun or whatever planet is situated in that particular house, what are the common grounds as such, as a lord of a particular house, as well as the planet as an individual? Do these match? Then we see that those are the things that are going to come into forefront for that person, and we will see that the person will be working on those issues. Now, the point is, will it be a good phase, or will it be a strenuous phase? That can be ascertained by the lordship. Also, Laghu Parashari has very set rules and very definitive rules which give clear answers. So from there, if we are able to ascertain. Apart from that, if it's in 1-7, we know that if it's in the Kendras or Trikonas, then obviously it should give us good results. If it is posited in the Dushtanas, it will make us work hard, and then probably there's a Viprit Rajyog going on, then so on and so forth. We can make out that these are the results that are likely to happen. Now, for example, somebody has their 12th lord as sun for the Gemini Lagna, which is placed in the 3rd house. So how does that work? Well, the 12th house being the house of travel, and being the sign of Leo, which is a fixed sign, then the person would be making a regular amount of travels and will be going with a fixed purpose. The 3rd house, again being a house of travels, it is the house which is showing short travels, and sun is also one of the karakas for travel. So we can very clearly say that the person would be traveling, and the person could be traveling for a lot of religious purposes, spiritual purposes, because 12th house and sun both are spiritual by nature. Sun gives a very booming voice, and as in the 3rd house, it aspects the 9th house. The person could be traveling on account of giving discourses, religious discourses, or for that matter, teaching people, because that is the connect between the 3rd house and the 9th house. And if we are talking about sun again, sun is splendor, sun is authority. So such a person in that time would have an authority over a particular subject, because 9th house talks about higher learnings, and sun aspecting that house says that you become an authority on a higher subject, and then anybody or everybody could be coming to you, because the 12th house talks about name and fame also on a very large level, and the 3rd house talks about associations with others, communication with others, and sun gives you a fame and name also. So this is how you converge everything together with the Karakatwas and seasons. We also move into 2 other example charts. Now, we talk about Vishwanathan. He is one of the grandmasters of India as per chess. Vishwanathan Anand was born in the Dasha of Venus, and later on he had his Sun Dasha after 6 years of birth from 1979. As his Sun Dasha started, it was during that period that he started learning chess from his mother. Okay, so now how do we plot that? We see that because he's a Capricorn Lagna, sun for him becomes the lord of the 8th house, and it is posited in the 11th house of gains. 8th house talks about sudden changes in life. So yes, there was a change in his life, a very strong change in his life, which changed the course of his future. That is, he moved towards doing things or associating, because the 8th house, 11th house also talks about recognition, name and fame. So there we see that as the 8th, and it is also talking about a regular income, and he moved into a life path, because sun is also about life path. He moved into that phase of learning about his life path or doing work about his life path at that start of that dasha, and finally went on to learn things from other people also. So the connect here is 8th lord, sudden change, 11th house, gains, knowledge, discoveries, and sun being the lord of also telling the soul's path. It is what he had chosen to do in this particular lifetime. The 8th house is also deep study and contemplation, which obviously went with it, because that was an entire period when his thought process for that particular game came into serious view. Now we take up another example. Here we see that for Yehudi Menuhin, which is, he's one of my famous, personal favorites as a violinist. So I've done quite a lot of study on his chart, and I see that his 5th lord is, his sun, which is the 9th lord, again, of higher learnings, 9th lord of good luck, Purva Punya, is sitting in his house of name and fame, and that too exalted. That is in the sign of Aries, and that sun is in 9 degrees, exactly moving towards exaltation. So these points are also very important for us. 5th house, as we know, is the house of talents. It is the house of somebody's flair that we see, and it is also the house of international recognition. Not to forget that it is sitting with Mercury, which is the 7th lord and the 10th lord of profession. So during the sun period, his Purva Punya, he is also sometimes called the prodigy. So his Purva Punya must have taken over, and as such, here he shines. It is said that when his sun Dasha started somewhere in 1930, and in 1931, when he made his first concerto recording, he was mentioned as Master Yehudi Menuhin. So that is something, when in the world of musicians in the West, when you're called master, that means you are quite developed in your art. And we see the fifth house of talents blooming under that sun. So here the connect is, and because it's a movable sign, the fifth house is a movable sign, that also we can say that yes, it was very easy for him to go ahead, make that name and fame for himself with his talent, which was very exquisite only to him. The karakas of a planet are very important. And when we are judging a particular dasha of any planet, the karakatwas hold a key to understanding what is likely to transpire in the life of a person. Don't forget to write in your suggestions, your comments in the box below.
Please hit the bell icon for fresh updates. Don't forget to like, share and comment on the videos, and please subscribe to our channel.